Hello and welcome to Whisky.com, where fine spirits meet. And today is another history video about our 25 years of Whisky.de. So today it's about prices of whiskey. And a little disclaimer, this is not about prices on the international market. This is not about prices in a big market. This is about prices at our company. So how did the changes in our company change the price policy? But we are pretty dependent on the suppliers, and so that's kind of also showing you how the supply of whiskey has changed their prices. Yeah. So how do you actually look at prices if they're changing? I took the price lists and the catalogs for over 25 years, put them in a little spreadsheet and spread them out and realized, oh, that's a bit of a problem. You don't really have a continuous basket of whiskeys, of products that doesn't change over the years because of some are in limited stock, so you don't have them in a particular year, and then some new products get introduced, some other products end, so that it's a change of products. Yeah, it's the same with the price indexes, where you calculate the inflation. The basket of products for the price index for the inflation calculation in 1920s was pretty different to what we have right now, because in the 1920s, for example, you didn't have any smartphones. So how do you cope with that? I talked to a controller and he said, you only have to look at changes, and that's how you can eliminate the introduction of other products into the basket. So what you have a basket, and then you add another product that's maybe a premium product that's really, really high in price. So your average basket in price increases, but you don't look at it because it got introduced and it doesn't have a price difference. You only look at the products that have been in the basket in the year before, and you look how much they rose and how much they have fallen. And then you average out the price difference of these products. During the next year, you look at that same product with the premium price, if it has risen or fallen in price. So you only see the price differences, and that gives you a good indication of how prices rise and fall in the market. So that's what I did. I summed them all up, got an average price increase or decrease for every year, and then I said, okay, let's take the year 1994 as 100 price index, and then add these little changes to the price index of increasing and then decreasing also. And that's what I did, and I got a line. So this is how the line looked like. And this is, remember, for the German market. You see, you start off at 100, then there's a bit of a price increase, a bit of fall, then a bit of a price increase, and then there's a sudden drop of pretty much exactly 50%. Then the prices go a bit sideways and start to kick off again. So, okay, looks like a normal graph, except this drop of 50%. And what happened there? It was the year 2001. What did happen in 2001? The euro got introduced. So the prices before 2001 were in Deutsche Mark, and after that they were in euros. And the exchange rate between Deutsche Mark and the euro was pretty much about 2 to 1. It was a 1.96 to 1. So that's the problem here, that I'm calculating two kind of currencies. And I then took all of the numbers before 2001, calculated them down to the euro, and then I found out, okay, now it's a pretty much straight graph. And here you can see the blue line is now the averaged out prices that are now all in euro. And the red line behind that is the inflation going on. It's actually not the inflation, but it's called the price index of the German goods market. It's what Germans consume and how these goods change in price. And the differences between all the different years are the inflation. So This looks like the blue line is below the red line, so the prices for whiskey did not rise as much as the inflation over the years. And that means whiskeys are becoming cheaper. Is that true? I have started in the year 1994. And in the years 1996 and 1998, the prices have fallen. So I have maybe gotten into that. I took the year of 1994 as a little peak in there. If I would have arbitrarily taken 1996, then this diagram would have looked much different. Yeah. So it really depends on where you start. If you have a longer graph, it doesn't matter where you start because it kind of averages it out. But it still matters where you start. So when you look at the graph, you really have to look at not where it starts and if it stays below the other line, but how the averages of incline are measured. And still, if you look at the average of incline, then you see that the prices for whiskey, not as dramatically as you see it in the picture, the steepness of the blue curve is not as high as the steepness of the red curve. So the whiskey is is not hit by inflation as hard as the normal products, but it's not well below that. So I would suggest, yeah, whiskey is about an average product. It's not getting any more expensive, but it's not getting any cheaper. Yeah, so it's a normal product. You don't have to worry. Prices are not way too high. They are pretty normal. And if you look at it, whiskey is not such a stable product. If you look at the years 2002, 2003, and 2015, then you see that whiskey is a bit of in a speculation bubble as well. And we are currently in a bubble that shows you that we are a bit too high in price. So prices are already falling a bit. This is due to the fact that we have a monetary policy. Some people are actually speculating with whiskey. This phenomenon can also be seen in vintage cars, real estate, and people consider products as investment products. And whiskey is a pretty good investment product. If you invest in a good vintage wine, you always have the problem of, it might go off, and that really gets down the price, except when you have then a really old bottle and the price also rises, and the market for wine is a bit bigger than whiskey, so it's then much more pricey. But still, the very high priced whiskeys, wines, you can't consume them. But the whiskeys that are really expensive, you could still consume them because whiskey does not go off if you store it the right way. Yeah, so that's where you can explain the two rises of 2003 and 2015. It's just the inflow of money and the lack of investment into other products, so people invest into whiskey. Yeah, so much that we had a look a bit into different kind of whiskeys and which whiskeys are a bit more affected with inflation, a bit less affected with inflation. And if you look at the investment whiskeys, the old whiskeys, the limited editions, the vintage whiskeys, these whiskeys are a bit more affected by price changes, but going a bit into higher prices. But the standard bottlings, if you say of a 10-year-old, a 12-year-old, something like that, these whiskeys are not hit with that much price inflation. They are pretty standard for the time we have and for the price we should have for the whiskey. So yeah, that's it. Prices are not that dramatic in the whiskey industry. Thank you very much for watching. If you found this video interesting, please subscribe to the channel. We have more interesting videos like that coming up. And thanks for watching, and see you next time.